Imagine this. You board a plane in New York, buckle up, engines roar, and 18 hours later you step out in Sydney. No layovers, no refueling, one continuous flight across nearly 12,000 kilometers. That used to be pure fantasy, but right now it's a goal being chased. And the surprising part, it's not coming from Boeing or Airbus. It's coming from China. Here's why it matters. To put 12,000 kilometers in perspective, that's like flying across the Atlantic Ocean, twice without stopping. It's not just a long flight, it's a massive engineering puzzle. Every extra liter of fuel adds weight. More weight means you need a stronger frame, which adds even more weight. And as the plane gets heavier, it burns even more fuel. The numbers start to climb exponentially. On top of that, long-haul flights aren't just about tanks and wings. Crew schedules, safety limits, and passenger comfort all come into play. One tiny miscalculation could force unscheduled stops, and that defeats the whole purpose. So how do you solve this? You need smarter engines, lighter but stronger materials, aerodynamic precision, and data-driven design. Every element has to be pushed to the absolute limit, or the plane simply won't make it. So how do you actually solve these problems? China's answer starts with engines, materials, and a whole lot of careful planning. While the world watched Boeing and Airbus battle in the skies, China was quietly building its own aviation empire. It started with COMAC, the Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, a state-owned company with a simple, ambitious mission to prove China could design and build its own passenger jets. The turning point came in 2017 with the C919, China's first homegrown passenger jet designed to rival Boeing's 737 and Airbus's A320. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, but the real significance wasn't in the plane itself. It was in what it represented: independence from decades of reliance on Western aircraft. China poured hundreds of billions into research and development wind tunnels, full-scale test labs, and a skilled workforce trained to design, build, and test aircraft from the ground up. Step by step, the country laid a foundation that could support even more ambitious projects, like a jet capable of flying 12,000 kilometers nonstop. With the foundation laid, the battle moves from history to hard science: engines, composites, and AI. This is where the real leap begins. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts of what could make a 12,000-kilometer nonstop flight possible. First, the engines. Traditional jet engines waste a lot of fuel, especially on ultra-long routes. China's engineers are developing next-generation turbofans, engines that burn smarter, run cooler, and slice through the sky with over 20% better fuel efficiency. Think of it like upgrading from a car that gets 20 miles per gallon to one that suddenly doubles its mileage without slowing down. Next, the materials. Most airplanes today are made of aluminum, strong and light, but not enough for this kind of distance. This jet will use advanced composites and exotic alloys, lighter than aluminum, tougher than steel, able to handle the stress of hours in the air while saving precious fuel. And it doesn't stop there. AI-driven design is shaping the wings and fuselage for maximum efficiency. Generative algorithms simulate thousands of flight conditions, adjusting the curves and contours in ways human engineers might never imagine. The result? Aerodynamics so smooth the plane practically slices through the air, reducing drag and saving even more energy. Put it all together, and you have a machine that's not just flying farther. It's challenging the physics that have limited aviation for decades. Okay, the technology exists on paper, but building it is one thing. Getting the world to accept it is another, and that's where the stakes get political. Airplanes aren't just machines, they're tools of influence. Selling jets gives a country more than just profits. It builds long-term dependence. Airlines that buy Chinese aircraft rely on China for spare parts, maintenance, training, and updates for decades. Whoever controls the supply chain will often sets the rules for the entire industry. Think back to Huawei and 5G. China outpaced the West, and suddenly countries around the world were dependent on Chinese technology. The same strategy is quietly unfolding in aviation. Through what some analysts call Belt and Road 2.0, China isn't just selling planes. They're offering airports, financing, and fleets, basically creating an ecosystem that ties countries to their industry. For China, it's about more than just market share. It's soft power. A country that adopts Chinese aircraft isn't just buying a product, it's entering a long-term partnership that influences economics, standards, and even pilot training. It's not just about influence on paper. If China's jets hit the skies, they could disrupt airlines, cargo networks, and the very way the world travels. Now imagine this. A Chinese ultra-long-range jet starts flying London to Perth nonstop, 14,000 kilometers without a single layover. For decades, airlines have relied on the hub-and-spoke system, routing passengers through major airports like Dubai, Frankfurt, or Atlanta. It works, but honestly, it's inefficient. Suddenly, point-to-point flights like this make connecting hubs less necessary. Passengers would choose cheaper, faster direct flights instead of changing planes multiple times. Airlines that depend on hub traffic could see revenue drop dramatically. And it's not just passengers. Cargo gets a makeover too. Right now, freight companies like FedEx and DHL move goods through stopovers, adding time and cost. A direct Shenzhen to Sao Paulo flight would cut days off delivery, reduce middlemen, and potentially shift global logistics patterns. If hundreds of these jets enter service, smaller or budget airlines could leapfrog legacy carriers. Passengers and cargo alike would gravitate toward efficiency, leaving old hub-based systems struggling to stay relevant. That's the upside for China, and the existential threat for legacy carriers. But it's not guaranteed. There are massive hurdles ahead. Even with revolutionary technology, China faces three huge obstacles before this jet can dominate the skies. First, certification. To fly internationally, an aircraft needs approval from authorities like the FAA in the US or EASA in Europe. They check every system, safety, flight performance, emergency protocols. This process can take years, and Western regulators may be cautious when dealing with a plane built by a geopolitical rival. Second, trust. Even if the jet passes every test, passengers must feel safe. Airlines know that one serious incident, even a minor one, could destroy confidence worldwide. Building a plane is one thing. Convincing the world to board it is another. Third, competition. New technologies are emerging fast. Take SpaceX, and point-to-point rockets flying New York to Tokyo in under an hour isn't science fiction anymore. If someone cracks that first, today's ultra-long-range jet could feel outdated before it even launches. If China clears these hurdles, the world in 2035 could look very different. If not, most of these changes will stall or take another shape. Fast forward to 2035. Imagine two possible worlds. Scenario 1, China succeeds. 40% of long-haul flights are operated by Chinese jets. Tickets are cheaper, nonstop routes are the norm, and global aviation standards shift to match Chinese systems. Air traffic controllers and pilots around the world are learning Mandarin. Airports adopt Chinese fleet management software, and the rules of the skies are being rewritten. Scenario 2, China stalls. Certification delays, trust issues, or technological competition slow adoption. The market splits. Legacy carriers retain key routes, regional operators fill gaps, and innovation continues. But the shakeup is far smaller. Either way, one thing is clear. Airplanes aren't just machines anymore. They are instruments of engineering, economics, and geopolitics, shaping how people and goods move and who controls that movement. What do you think? Would you fly on a Chinese-made jet that skips layovers and costs less? Or would you wait to see if it holds up? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want a deep dive on Comac's secret spaceplane project, or how China's aviation strategy ties into its military rise, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started.